Perfect World Chapter 1, Daihoang. It was late at night, darkness covered everywhere, covering the landscape. But the mountain was not quiet at all. The roar of ferocious beasts shook the whole river, trees shook, leaves scattered. The vast mountains and forests are where countless ferocious wild beasts and races left over from ancient times operate. The terrifying cries of all creatures roared in the darkness, making the ground feel like it was about to split open. From within the mountain range, in the distance, a halo of light flickered, like a candle flickering under the endless black night. Hidden among the mountains, the light seemed like it could go out at any time. Coming closer, one can clearly see that there is half a giant dry tree trunk. The diameter of the trunk is about 10 meters. The whole body is charred black, except for this half of the trunk. Only a weak branch remains. But it radiates vitality. The leaves of the tree shimmered as if carved from emerald green, spreading sparkling spots of light to cover the entire village. To be precise, this is a lightning-struck tree. Many years ago, it encountered a lightning strike. The luxuriant canopy and the vitality of the old willow were destroyed by lightning. Now only a stump about 8 or 9 meters high is left, rising above the ground, with an incredibly wide diameter. The only remaining willow branch looks like a magic chain made of emerald clouds, with an overwhelming aura that covers and protects the whole group. Villages, making this land become as vague as a fairyland, in the Daihoang extremely mystical feeling. The houses in the village are all built of stone. Late at night it was quiet. The peace and quiet of this place seemed completely separate from the darkness and the roar of beasts outside. Hoo! A hurricane blew through. Huge black clouds crossed the sky, covering the entire night, blocking a bit of the weak starlight, making the mountains even darker. A ferocious bird call came down from above, a sharp cry with strong penetrating power, unexpectedly originating from that dark cloud. Looking closely, it turned out to be a giant bird that was unbelievably big, covering the moon and stars, and countless miles long. Passing through Daihoang, it lowered its head and looked down. Its eyes were like 2 blood moons, its fierceness reaching the sky. It stared at the old willow tree for a moment, then finally flew towards the deepest part of the mountain range. It was quiet for a long time until midnight, when the ground began to shake. A vague figure came from afar, as tall as the mountain top. A strange breath spread. The mountains and forests were dead silent. The ferocious beast bowed down, not daring to make a single sound. Coming closer, this is a human-shaped creature, standing upright. It is extremely tall, comparable to the top of the mountain. Its entire body has no hair but is thick with a layer of sparkling golden scales. Its face was flat, with only one straight eye. Every time it blinked, it was as if golden lightning slithered through it, terrifyingly sharp. Its entire body was filled with immense blood energy, like a god and demon. It passed by this place, glanced at the willow tree, briefly stopped, then seemed to be hurrying on its way, and finally quickly left. Countless mountains seemed to be groaning under its every step, and the entire mountain and forest area was also made to tremble by that power. At dawn, a centipede 10 meters long, with a body as big as a water barrel, radiating silver light, crawled zigzag in the mountain. The centipede seemed to be cast from white silver. Each segment was shiny and ferocious, hitting the mountain rocks with a bang, sparks flying. But in the end it avoided Daihoang without ever entering. Where it passed through dark mist, all animals avoided. A slender willow branch radiates iridescent light, swaying gently in the wind. Perfect World Chapter 2. The tide is hot. Daihoang is located in the Daihoang mountain range, with high mountains on all 4 sides, and a magnificent mountain complex stretching out as far as the eye can see. Early in the morning, clouds spread down with golden light, making people feel warm as they immerse themselves in it. A group of dozens of children of varying sizes, ranging from 4 or 5 years old to a dozen years old, were standing on the open space in front of the village, looking up at the morning clouds, working hard to exercise their bodies. Each young face had a serious look on it. The slightly older ones were very aggressive, the younger ones were also flailing quite a bit. A middle-aged man as strong as a tiger, wearing an animal skin coat, bronze skin, loose black hair, sparkling eyes observed each child, carefully giving them instructions. When the sun first rises is the time when all things begin, vitality is strongest. Although it is not possible to swallow clouds filled with air as in legend, exercising the body under the early morning clouds is also of great benefit. It can be built up. In a day, there is only this early morning moment. Wake up early and work hard, strengthen your muscles, strengthen your bones, and activate your blood to train your muscles. Only then will you have the capital to survive in this mountainous place. The middle-aged man standing in front pointed at the children with a stern face, then shouted, "Do you understand?" "Understand." The children enthusiastically raised their voices to respond. In the mountains, there are often prehistoric creatures appearing. There are species with large wings that cover the sky and fly horizontally, casting shadows all over the ground. There are also wild beasts standing on mountain tops howling at the moon. There are also poisonous insects crawling around, extremely terrifying. Understood. A child was clearly absent-minded and spoke up half a beat too slowly. This is a very young boy, only about 1 or 2 years old, has not been able to walk for long, yet he still follows everyone to exercise. Obviously, the boy followed and mixed in with the group of children, not yet old enough to appear in this team. "Ho ho ha hi," the little boy babbled, his tender arms trying to imitate the movements of the older children, but because he was still too young, he continued to wobble, his steps were wobbly and wobbly. Add streaks of milk moon. Moon. The white residue left on the lips made everyone laugh. The older children looked at it, everyone frowned and glanced at it. Nook serious training in the morning is much more comfortable. The little boy is white and pretty, his black eyes turn and look like a porcelain doll, extremely adorable. The immature movements and the babbling sounds in the mouth were so naive and foolish. Looking at the boy, the old people sitting cross-legged and breathing in the essence of heaven and earth on large rocks in another area also had to smile. Even the group of mature men with muscular bodies, naked and revealing their muscular muscles, looked over with obvious smiles. They are the strongest people in the village, the most important force in charge of hunting and protecting the village. They were also training, some held large sticks ground from giant beast bones, others carried large swords forged from black metal and danced with all their might, the sound of the wind rising like thunder. The survival environment is extremely fierce, there are too many ferocious wild beasts and poisonous insects. In order to find food and survive, there are many young men who have not yet grown up and die prematurely in the Daihoang. If you want to live, you only have to constantly strengthen yourself. Early morning exercise has become a habit for everyone, from adults to the elderly and children. Retract your mind. The middle-aged person in charge of tutoring only taught the children to shout loudly. The children quickly focused their attention and continued to practice under the sparkling morning clouds. Phew. Oh Dad. So tired. The little boy breathed a sigh of relief and sat down on the ground to watch the group of older children practice their bodies, but after a moment he diverted his attention and stood up. Sick ran towards a 5-colored sparrow that was jumping not far away, and ended up repeatedly tripping and hitting its butt on the ground, but it did not cry, but angrily crawled up and continued to chase. "Okay, take the credit." After a loud shout, all the children cheered in unison, rubbed their aching limbs and then ran towards their house to prepare for breakfast. The old man laughed and also stood up from the large stone slab. As for the group of young men, like tigers and leopards, they laughed, scolded, and teased their children, holding their bones and big swords as they walked home. Thatch Village is not big, young and old, there are about 300 people combined. The houses are built from rocks, simple and natural. At the beginning of the village there is a huge lightning tree, more than 10 meters in diameter. At this time, the only willow branch of the tree trunk has absorbed all the glory in the morning clouds, becoming very normal. "Oh, including Earth Dragon meet again, a peace please. The children were all lively and active. Even when eating, they refused to sit still. Many of them gathered with their bowls from their homes. Around Thatchthon there are luxuriant plants and many wild animals. However, even though it is on the mountainside, the villagers' food is not too rich, only a few raw barley cakes, wild fruits and some meat in the children's bowls. In fact, lack of food is always a very serious problem in Thatchthon. The mountains are extremely dangerous, the ferocious beasts are too strong and terrifying, every time we hunt there is a possibility of human loss. If it were a normal child, he would have been weaned a long time ago, but he still loves to eat so much that he refuses to wean, and is often laughed at by the older children. Oh Dad. Phew. Can't run anymore. It had been busy chasing the five-colored sparrow. Now it was panting and sitting with its butt on the ground. Let's get some milk, little one. The older children joked. Are there any of you monkeys who haven't passed this age? The old patriarch laughed and scolded. We're not even 1.5 years old and we're still drinking milk, hee hee. Being teased by the older children, the little boy smiled innocently, his big black eyes forming a crescent moon shape, completely indifferent. He sat down and used a wooden spoon to scoop up the milk and drink it deliciously. After breakfast, several elderly people in the village went to the house of Patriarch Thatch Van Forn. Although their hair and beard were grey, they were still in good spirits. It's not been very good lately. In the middle of the night, there's always a group of thugs passing by. There's too much noise. Something must have happened deep in the mountain. Well, last night I was woken up a few times, my bones were shaking. There must have been a wild, ferocious beast passing by here. Several old people spoke up one after another, some frowning and some thoughtful, discussing the recent signs of danger, feeling that something out of the ordinary had happened. I see deep within Daihoang it's possible that something out of the ordinary appeared that attracted the attention of a few remaining races from the ancient one around here, causing them to come in droves. Old Patriarch Thatch Van Forn said thoughtfully. Could it be that a mountain treasure has appeared? An old man suddenly widened his eyes, his hair stood up, and his face was shocked. The remaining people all looked strange, their eyes were hungry, but quickly the fire in their eyes went out. It was not something they could take away. Deep in the mountain, no one could go in. For many years, no one has ever come out alive. There are countless terrifying creatures in the mountain. Even if all the people of Thatchthon rushed in together, it would not do any good. Chief, it's been many days since we entered the mountain. At this moment, a burly man entered the house. He was the leader of the hunting team, and also the next patriarch of Thatchthon. It's not been very peaceful lately. Old Patriarch Thatch Van Forn frowned. But we're really running out of food. Shalam Ho said, his body was extremely tall, more than 2 meters, with a great sword weighing more than 300 pounds on his back. He looked like a bear man, his skin was copper-colored, his muscles were as strong as moving pythons. Transfer. Children need to grow, they can't be hungry. We have to think of a way. An old man spoke up. Even though it's not very peaceful at night, there's nothing unusual during the day. I'll bring a few more people. If we're a little careful, it should be fine. Shalam Ho said. Finally, dozens of young men gathered at the beginning of the village, led by Patriarch Thatch Van Forn in front of the lightning tree, solemnly praying in front of the old willow tree. Ti Lin, please protect the clan, so that the children can hunt fat animals and return safely. We will dedicate our respectful hearts, forever worshipping and taking care of you.